Hello and welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is the WHOOPI Monologues, playing off-Broadway at the Lincoln Center Mitzi E. Newhouse Theater. Before I jump into this, please like, comment, subscribe. I love hearing about what you think of these videos and what you think of the theater. This is opening up a big discussion and I love hearing from all of you. Okay. So what did I know about the WHOOPI Monologues going in? Well, I knew that Whoopi Goldberg had done a show on Broadway in the 80s, which I did not see. And then she did it again in 2004, which I was in New York at the time, but I didn't see it then. And this is now bringing these monologues back, but instead of being performed by one person, as Whoopi did both times on Broadway, this time they have been given to 5 actors. I was excited to see this because I'd never seen Whoopi perform these monologues. And these are great actors. I mean, I knew Kerry Young was in it, and then I was pleasantly surprised to find out that Kerry Washington also does one of the monologues, and Kecia Lewis as well, and rounded out by 2 folks I wasn't familiar with, Danielle Pinnock and Dominique Fishback. And they were all 5 of them were fantastic and well suited for the characters that they played. So for those of you who don't know Whoopi's monologues, so what she did is originally in 1984, she did 6 monologues. She developed this at the Dance Theater Workshop downtown, and then it moved to Broadway, and it was directed by Mike Nichols. And this show made Whoopi Goldberg a star. And she brought them back again in 2004, but she made some adjustments. This time she did only 5 monologues. In the original one, there were 3 characters that were men, but she changed it a little bit so that there was only one of the characters were men, and she wrote a new character, an older woman going through menopause named Lurleen. And part of the reason she made these changes is one of the characters was a handicapped character, and by that time in the 2000s, it was kind of frowned on for actors to play characters with disabilities, although my argument is when you're doing a one-person show, the whole point is that you're going to play characters very different from yourself, and that's part of the reason for the show. And so I was also curious to see a show that really was made famous because Whoopi was doing it and that she was shape-shifting into these 6 different characters. I wanted to see how it held up as a set of monologues performed by different people. And let me tell you, I really enjoyed it. I thought it held up really well. It really refocuses, the play is more focused on the writing than it is on the virtuosity of the actor shifting into all these different characters. This is directed by Whitney White, who also directed Liberation, which I loved, which was on Broadway last season. And from what I read about this show after seeing it, is Whitney did a lot of work to pull different elements from these monologues and kind of work it so that there's moments where all 5 actors are on stage, and also updating these monologues so they feel more of our current time being performed by these modern actresses. All 5 of these actors were fantastic. I think Kerry Young is the one who gave me the most Whoopi energy. She's also playing the first character, which is a male character. And we start with Kerry Young and we end with Kecia Lewis, and we've got Kerry Washington in the middle. And I thought it was a really nice arc. I really loved ending with Kecia Lewis's monologue, which is the most recent monologue. In fact, it kind of moves chronologically. Let's look at the setting: 1985, 2005, now and forever, like cats. So originally Whoopi played 3 women and 3 men. Now we start with a male character and then we do 4 women. And I guess it didn't bother me because I knew it was based on Whoopi, but I think if we didn't know that we were doing the Whoopi monologues, it would be a little strange that you have a woman playing a male character and then you've got women playing these 4. Because then the question would be, well, why not just have a man play that? But because we know originally Whoopi played it, it makes sense. And I kind of wish there were other male monologues because she wrote 2 other ones, but that was the handicapped person. It was also an elderly person, and from my understanding, is those characters were kind of incorporated into the Jamaican caregiver monologue played by Danielle Pinnock. So talking about the strengths of the writing, which really we got to focus in on that because we weren't focusing on one person showing their virtuosic ability to shift between all these characters. It really shows that Whoopi has a very theatrical way of writing. It's not just stand-up. She creates these really multidimensional characters, and then she takes us on kind of a journey that attacks a social issue. One of the great things that I love is kind of this Trojan horse structure. Whoopi writes these kind of characters that we think we know, like a street hustler or a valley girl or just a little 7-year-old girl, a bawdy Jamaican immigrant. And we think she's dealing with these large tropes, but then once she gets us laughing, then she flips it, and then something surprising happens, and she gives us a devastating social commentary. I'm really impressed with her ability to really surprise the audience. Also, these characters are very specific, like anthropologically, they speak and they move in a way that feels very distinct to each character. The limitation of the writing, I think, is that sometimes Whoopi overwrites the dramatic conclusions of these pieces because they are so short. She crams a lot into one piece. For example, the surfer girl, she has a traumatic moment back to back with a priest, then a nun, and then her mother, and this whole thing flies by in 10 minutes. And that, any one of these characters could really be a full play in their own right. Also, these monologues really rely on the actor. I don't think they're as well crafted structurally as what you would see from many playwrights. They have a little bit of a sketch feel to them, which I don't mean this as a criticism. It just is, well, maybe a little bit, but it is what it is. And so it really relies on really strong performers. But I felt like this made a case for the writing in that I thought the monologues actually really did well on their own. So other little nitpicks I had is I felt some of these monologues felt a little dated, but then they would have modern references in them. So it felt a little pulling me out where I felt like I was in a period piece, but then they'd reference in something modern. And then on the other hand, there are some of the monologues that have references that are very dated. So sometimes I was being pulled a little bit about where we were. Also, I find sometimes these monologues have a really sharp turn at times to get into that social commentary that they don't always feel warranted. They feel a little bit like we're making a hard left turn where we go from someone dealing with menopause to all of a sudden they have suicidal thoughts, and it's just like we don't really have time to really develop that connective tissue. So despite those minor criticisms, I do have to say I really enjoyed my time in the theater. I enjoyed getting to know these monologues. Enjoyed getting to see what these actors brought to it. Carrie Young, who never disappoints. Her physicality as Fontaine, I thought was just fantastic. Oh, another issue. This is an issue I do have. There's one monologue, the one by the Jamaican caregiver who's helping this elderly man who's in a wheelchair. She's the only character who, when she does the voice of the other people in the story, she's no longer the Jamaican woman. She becomes that character. And I didn't love this choice. I'm curious how Whoopi did this originally, because what it does is it makes me aware that I'm not hearing a Jamaican woman. I'm hearing an actor playing a Jamaican woman who can also then step out of the Jamaican woman character to play the old man and to play the lawyer. And I would rather hear the Jamaican woman's interpretation of the old man, how she portrays the old man, how she portrays the lawyer. That's just my little preference. And that monologue stood out to me because it was the only one that really did that. So, was I bored? Was I confused? I wasn't bored at all by this. This is just one act. It's 1 hour and 40 minutes. Each monologue is maybe, 10 to 15 minutes. There's some business in between that wasn't necessary, but I liked it. Just where the characters would interact with each other for a minute. The set design is beautiful and functional. They have video projections on there. Not necessary, but I enjoyed them. And I thought Whitney White kept them moving around. They interact a lot more with the audience because it's a thrust stage and it's a small, intimate space. I really felt they were able to interact with the audience in a way that I'm sure Whoopi was probably not able to on the Lyceum proscenium stage with a huge Broadway house. So I really enjoyed that. But was I confused? Just, a few of those moments where I wasn't sure if this was an older monologue that was being updated, and some of the references kind of pulled me out for a second. And also that moment I talked about with the Jamaican woman switching her accent entirely to play the other characters in the monologue. But those confusions were slight, and we all know what we're here to see. We're here to see the Whoopi monologues being performed by 5 really talented actors, and I really enjoyed it, and I recommend this. If this sounds interesting to you at all, I think you'll enjoy it, so go check this out. It was funny and also heartbreaking and really good theater. So where did I sit? I got a comp ticket for this. I sat in the back, but in this theater, every seat is great. And where can you get your tickets? There are $20 digital lottery Rush tickets available on Telecharge Rush. Check that out. $37 LincTix tickets that you can get at the box office, and $40 LincTix tickets that can be purchased online. So lots of affordable ways to see this show. If this interests you at all, I think you should go check it out. I really enjoyed it. I was really happy to see these fine actors do these well-crafted monologues. All right, go check out the Whoopi monologues. I hope you will not be bored or confused. Bye.
Don't wanna drift away, wanna stay